And Melly, coming to you from Hammersmith Equestrian Center in East Dennis, Massachusetts, with another one of our instructional videos. Now last week we had a shout out to Jan Rollins' farm, Hidden Acres Farm over in Harwich, and I completely screwed it up, called it Hidden Pond Equestrian Rescue, like every time except once. So from now on, Beans is going to say the name of the farm.
Hidden Acres Farm.
Okay, and you can find them on Facebook, and they're in Harwich, and Jan Rollins is the owner. And again, they have goats, so they have goat milk, goat cheese. She does wool. She does spinning of wool. She teaches classes for that. She's the secretary of the Massachusetts Farm Bureau for Cape and Islands, along with myself. I'm on the board with her, or I'm on the Farm Bureau with her. And that's Jan. She's a great gal, so check her out if you're interested in goat products or wool or spinning. All right. Okay, we had a request for taking a horse for its first trail ride, and you know, every time I get this question, there's a caveat to it, right, Beans? It's my horse won't go on the trails. That's the first thing I get, and then what you have to realize is almost 99.9% of the cases, the horse will go on the trails just fine. It's the rider.
Yeah.
So so much depends on how we approach it as a rider. Now this isn't going to be a video about how to be safe on the trails, and because that's a huge subject. So maybe later we can hit on certain parts. If any of you folks are interested in any specific things about trail riding and what we recommend, just put it in the comments section, and we'll get to it in another video. But here, it's just getting the horse to be safe off the property. Now, the first and number one thing is going to be your attitude. Okay, you've got to be able to sit on this horse and be confident, calm, with absolutely no fear. All right, if you can do that, chances are the horse is going to be fine. I can't tell you how many horses I've had where the owners say that the horse won't go off the property, and the owner's not here, and I take the horse off the property first shot, and it's like, well, that wasn't a problem, so it's obviously not the horse. But a good thing to do, if you are apprehensive, okay, is walk the horse on the road or on the trail first. Yeah, hand walk, unmounted. It's very important to understand is, I've seen people where I've walked a horse, and it's, you know, horses are interesting. It's a lot of times when somebody brings a horse to me, I don't want them to tell me everything that's wrong with it, because then I've prejudged the situation. Whereas I'd rather, you know, of course, if the horse has really got serious issues, that's one thing. But if the horse spooks, or the horse does this, or the horse does that, or the horse doesn't like, I don't know, the gait, or, you know, I don't really need that information. I'd rather kind of just cautiously go after it on my own. Now, having said that, being cautious is only going to get you so far. And, you know, you're just going to have to buckle up the chin strap, get on the horse. And for a lot of people, that's a lot of anxiety. Okay, and that's going to create a huge problem. So you have to be able to have the ultimate confidence. Now, if you get on a horse, and say here, most of the times we go on the road to go down to the beach. We don't trailer down all the time unless it's sunset or something. So we're pretty confident with our horses on the road. Not to say the horses don't have their moments. Okay, if a horse spooks and it starts getting agitated, you're on the sidewalk. It's you know, there's not a lot of margin for error there. So everything rests in your hands. You have got to be able to use the concept of pressure and release. You've got to understand that concept and be able to do it. The first thing that people do when a horse starts to freak is pulling back on the reins, and that's pressure on a horse. That's only going to make the situation worse and worse and worse until something really bad happens. So you're going to have to be able to, when the horse has a little freak out, to give the pressure, no pressure on the reins. However, you're going to have to be able to know when, okay, now I can come with rein pressure and keep the horse from getting hurt, or keep me being thrown off, and settle the horse down. I may have to give the pressure again. All right? It's a very important concept. That's the whole way we control horses, is pressure and release. All right? It's not a clear-cut thing. It requires judgment on your point. When do I put pressure on? When do I release it? Okay, that becomes very, very important. So
you have to be calm enough to be able to figure that out too. Because if you're tense, you're not going to be able to feel when you take the pressure. You're not going to sometimes get the response immediately that you're looking for, but if you put the pressure on, as soon as you get the slightest bit of a response from the horse, if it is spooking or getting ready to take off or freaking out, you want to respond to the slightest response that that horse has to the pressure to say, good, that's exactly what I want, and then you take that pressure back as soon as you need to. So sometimes it is take the pressure, release it, take the pressure, release it, but you don't want to be pulling, because then you're going to create a battle. Even if you're pulling for 5 seconds, sometimes it's too long.
Now we have a rider here who comes every summer. Her name is Abby. I think she was maybe 12, I'm sure it's been 13. She rides one of our most difficult horses to ride off property, and I call her Cool Hand Loop.
Yeah.
This little girl, I mean, the horse will freak out and she won't bat an eye. She'll sit there, she'll settle that horse down. And I asked her, I say to her, well, I'm really impressed you can do that. She goes, well, the barn I ride at, all the horses are like that.
Yeah.
So I have experience. So again, that's going to be your main concern, okay? Take it slow, right? If you've got to walk your horse around the block, usually I have a new horse come to the farm. I do all basic groundwork. I'm not a huge lunger, so but leading a horse online, we're right in the middle of town here, so it's easy for us. I'll lead the horse around. I may do that for 2 weeks before I ever get on the horse. But after that 2 weeks, I'm pretty confident that I can get on and there's not going to be an issue with the horse, okay? So gradually build up and just try to maintain that confidence level and calmness, and that's what's going to get you through it.
Yeah, 'cause it's about building, like Doug's saying, it's about building your own confidence more so than your horse's confidence, because you're not going to be able to build your horse's confidence if you're not confident in the situation yourself. So even if your horse is still maybe moving around a lot or has a lot more movement than you want when you're hand walking it, if you're to the point where you're like, all right, well, even though my horse is still doing this, I feel confident and I'm ready to get on the horse. If you're ready to get on the horse, that might settle your horse down, the horse feeling that confidence on top of it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, when things do go a little awry, the calmness has got to be there, and not always coming with pressure. Okay, Melly, one of the first times I took her off the property, she is literally going down the sidewalk sideways. Completely sideways. She's like this. And somebody's with us, I think it was Lisa or somebody, said, like, are you doing that on purpose? I'm saying, like, no, I'm not doing that on purpose. But the thing was, if I made a big deal out of it and tried to just prevent her from doing it and put pressure on her, she's obviously doing that because she's a little agitated about something. I really just was kind of letting her be and letting her do it before I corrected it. And we probably went 100 yards down the road completely sideways, and then she worked out of it. But if I, started putting a leg on her, started wrestling around with the reins, trying to get her straight, suddenly she's going to start to think like, oh, wow, there's something to be concerned about. And then a loud noise, a car goes by, a truck goes by, a motorcycle, and then it just exasperates it and it goes somewhere bad. So the thing you have to remember is your first reaction to anything that happens with your horse spooking is nothing. Okay? Nothing. Just remain calm, deal with the situation. Your horse is going to be a mirror image of you. All right? It's the old classic adage. If I hear one more person say, this horse has a bumpy trot, I don't like this horse's trot. Again, that's all rider. Some horses have slightly smoother trots than others, but most of the things you see as trainers, that we see is problems with the riders. Okay? So things to remember: taking your horse off property, be prepared, have a relationship with this horse.
Yes.
Okay? Take it around, walk it around. All right? Get on it. Go out on the road. Don't go by yourself. All right? Take another rider along with you. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I go solo trail or beach riding. I don't do it that much.
And if you're really not confident too, having 2 other horses out with you and you being in the middle of those 2 horses, so you feel secure that if anything goes on, your horse starts to spook, you have a horse on either end of you, you have an experienced rider on either end of you to help you through that situation. So you're not going to be so anxious that, oh my gosh, I have to get through this all on my own. It's comforting to have other people with you sometimes. So it's all about knowing your own comfort level and not being too anxious to push yourself out of your comfort level too fast off property, because when you start to do that, that's when things do start to get more dangerous, because you want to make sure that you yourself are confident enough to be prepared for whatever is going to happen.
And don't put the pressure on you by saying, okay, my first ride, I'm going to go on a 4-hour trail
Yeah,
ride.
no. Even if it's just 15 minutes.
Right. Just something to get you going gradually so you get the confidence and you give the horse the confidence, okay? Anything else to add, Beans?
Oh, I think that's pretty much the basics of it.
And
Without getting too much into all of it.
So make sure to make comments if you have comments. If you'd like to see something else covered, we'd be glad to do it. Also, people with businesses, we'd love to have T-shirts. We do have Monomoy Pet and
Horse
Dog and Pet. Horse, I'll get it straight before the video. They're giving us T-shirts. We're going to do them next week. And anybody else would like to be on, get a little plug for the business, let us know. I'd be glad to help you guys out. Again, comment, share, and we will see you next week for another live video.
See you then. Thank you.